I'm in Houston right now, and we are seeing just historic flooding. The impact of Harvey is massive, and it is expected to be growing. We've got right now, just in and around the Houston area, about 2,000 high water rescues that are ongoing, people who are trapped with rising water. And so I've been spending much of the day in communication with local officials, with state officials, and with the federal government, working to mobilize resources to provide assistance to people who are facing real peril.
We heard from the governor earlier who said, everything Houston has asked for, we provided. The governor has called the Houston mayor a number of times and left messages, but hasn't had a direct conversation, at least at the time of that press conference. What do you believe Houston needs right now that needs to be conveyed on a state level and perhaps even federal level, since federal resources have also been dedicated?
Right. I've spoken with both the mayor and the governor in the past few hours. The mayor expressed significant concern about needing additional resources for high water rescues, additional boats and helicopters and high water trucks. That is a concern I expressed directly to the White House, expressed to FEMA and federal officials, and also to the governor. The governor I got off the phone with about 20, 30 minutes ago, and Governor Abbott told me the state has deployed 60 boats to the Houston region, 20 helicopters, and has sent an additional 500 DPS troopers and mobilized a total of about 3,000 National Guardsmen. So the state is acting swiftly to marshal resources. The federal government is as well. It's taking a little bit of time to get those resources to the affected areas, just because getting there is not proving easy because many roadways are shut down. But I think we're seeing state, local, and federal officials working well together, but we're still in the midst of an active crisis, and so there's considerably more work to be done.
Earlier, I spoke with Ed Emmett, who's the Houston Emergency Management official, or one of the officials, and he, defended the fact that it was a rain event, and it's difficult in which to evacuate from a rain event. You don't know who to evacuate, and the mayor earlier saying between 2 and 6 million people would have to be evacuated if there were to be a mandatory evacuation, and that would not be wise. Where are you on the issue of evacuations, or whether it has been handled properly, knowing that this was going to be a hurricane and that would potentially evolve into a tropical storm?
Sure. Well, look, there's always time in the future to look back in hindsight and assess what might have been done better. But I will say what I've been advising people is listen to your local officials, because it really varies region by region. We saw when Hurricane Harvey first made landfall, we saw devastation further south in Texas, in Corpus Christi and Victoria and Rockport, and now we're seeing flooding, especially in the Houston and Galveston area, that is very, very significant. I think it's important to monitor the situation as it's moving, particularly because this isn't over. Harvey is expected to stay and keep dumping water. We may not even be halfway through in terms of the rainfall and flooding that's coming. And so what I would encourage to anyone in the Houston area who is facing rising water, stay safe, stay inside. Don't go out in your car. Frequently, the most frequent cause of loss of life is people that get out in their car and they think they can make it. And swift-moving water can be incredibly dangerous. Don't jeopardize you or your family's safety. If you see rising water in your home, get up high. Don't go into your attic. This is a very important warning. Don't go into your attic unless you have an axe or other equipment to get through the roof, because it can be very dangerous getting trapped in your attic with no way to get out. You're far better off, if the water is rising, getting on top of your roof where you can be rescued rather than getting yourself trapped. But the biggest advice is stay off the roads. Do not drive into water. That can be incredibly, incredibly dangerous.
And Senator, President Trump is back at the White House now, having arrived there just moments ago after spending a weekend at Camp David. And the White House also saying that the president plans to head to the region there, the flooding region there. And here are the images right now of the family coming off Marine One. that they will be in the region on Tuesday. What do you want to see come from the president's visit, potentially in your district?
Well, I spoke to the president earlier, and he committed swift and immediate federal resources and all the support that the state needed. I was very appreciative of his direct and personal level of concern. Yesterday, I spoke with Vice President Pence right after the president had convened a video conference cabinet meeting, and the vice president conveyed to me that the president had directed every cabinet official to move as swiftly as humanly possible to marshal resources on the grounds to meet the need. We've been seeing that level of cooperation. In fact, the governor told me that he's just now in the process of signing an agreement with the federal government to create a dual status command center so that you don't have the problems of coordination between the state and federal government that we've seen in other disasters. And I know what the president told me when I visited with him, that he wants to come to Texas, but he wants to come at a time when it doesn't create a distraction and pull resources away from search and rescue. So
and is Tuesday a good time in your view? Is Tuesday a good time in your view?
I expect there will be a time coming this week, but I think the president is trying to be sensitive to the right time to come, and the focus right now of the White House and the administration is search and rescue, getting, let me say, our first responders, the incredible bravery of police officers and firefighters and paramedics and National Guardsmen and so many people that are just risking their lives. And as you mentioned a minute ago, also just neighbors helping neighbors. And in Houston and Galveston, there's been a call to private citizens, if you have a flat-bottom boat and can assist in rescue efforts, to do so. And that's one of the most incredible things we see is whenever natural disaster strikes in Texas, and sadly we're big enough that we have had a significant number of natural disasters, we always see Texans coming together and neighbors helping neighbors, and we're seeing that right now as well.
All right. Senator Ted Cruz, thanks for your time. Appreciate it. All the best to you, your family there in Houston, and everyone in your district.